Hi guys, John here. Today I'm outside in my front yard. I've got to make another painting for work. If you don't know, I work for Wine and Canvas, which is a paint and sip company. And today I have a class. I picked this class up last minute. Normally my paintings are done a month ahead of time, but I picked up this class last minute, and today's the first day of free time that I have to actually make this painting. And so here's the painting that I'm going to be making. I don't remember what the name is, but as you can see, there's some lovely flowers and a nice blue background. And so I'm just going to do this as quickly as I can. Like I said, have the class today. I got to be there at 4:30. It's currently 11. So, I mean, I got plenty of time. So it's not something I got to worry about. But we're going to get right into it. I'm going to start with the blue background. I think I want to make it a little more teal. So I actually have a teal color. Save me some work. So there's no way I could mix something this light with the colors that I've got on my palette. And so we're going to add some teal to it. And you'll notice here for my background, my strokes are horizontal. I talk about this in my classes. I always want my backgrounds, unless it's, raining or something, I want my backgrounds to be horizontal strokes. The reason that is horizontal strokes, the word horizontal, you may recognize a little bit the beginning of that, the word horizon. So the horizon is where, when you're looking out at the beach where the earth curves off away from you, where you can stop seeing stuff, the horizon line is always horizontal. And so that's an easy trick for our brains. If we want something to look further back, we make it more horizontal. And so I want this background to stay a background. So I'm going to do horizontal strokes here, at least for now. Because when I teach these classes, the first thing I tell everybody is we're here to make your painting. We're not here to make my painting. And so they'll have the freedom when I'm teaching this class to make it as dark or light as they want the background to be. Most of them will just do whatever I'm doing. That's just how it kind of goes with these classes. But I will tell them that they're allowed to change it up a little bit if they want to. Something to keep in mind when we're making paintings on these canvases is the canvas is wrapped around. I've said in the past that it was gallery wrapped. These aren't gallery wrapped. They're stapled back canvases. So the canvas, if I pull it off here, you can see it wraps around the sides and to the back, and then it's stapled down. And so if I don't paint the sides, they're gonna stay white. And when I make this masterpiece and they hang it up in a museum, people are gonna see those sides unless it's framed. And so I always tell my classes, make sure during this stage that we are painting the sides as well. I'm gonna do that once I cover the front face here. And you notice my color is not consistent all the way across. I think that is boring. And I don't want my paintings to be boring. And so I'm giving it some good variance here. Okay, so there's my background. Now, the next step here is to do nothing, because we gotta let the background dry. Fortunately, it's pretty hot outside today, so this is gonna dry really quickly, but I'm just gonna let it dry for a few minutes and then I'll come back to you. Whenever I'm done with a color or I'm gonna take a break for a minute, I always clean my brush off. You see, I had paint all over this, and the way that I found best to clean them is to take the brush and jam it into the bottom of the cup so I can get all that paint out of the bristles, because this paint is what's called acrylic paint. And what that means is when it dries, it turns to plastic. And I don't know if any of you at home have ever done one of these classes and got some paint on your shirt or your pants, but acrylic paint does not come out of clothes. It just doesn't. It turns to plastic inside your shirt and it's just there forever, and your shirt's forever stained. So when we're doing these classes, everybody has an apron. I'm not wearing an apron today because 1, I know what I'm doing, and 2, I don't care. Every shirt that I own has paint on it somewhere. And so Look right there. See, I've got some right here. So it's not the end of the world for me. While I got a second, I'm going to draw in just very rough where I think I want my flowers to be. I'm not going to do anything super detailed right now. I'm just going to do little circles because all of this is going to get painted over. This one's got 5 flowers. And so I'm going to put 5 little circles on here so that I know when I'm doing my leaves, which is the next step, where I need to put them and where I don't need to put them. And so I'm trying to make sure they're not all super evenly spaced out or anything. It's not very natural for things to be perfectly spaced out. One problem with painting outside is there's bugs everywhere. Well, that and it's 100 degrees outside. So I'm gonna do, like I always tell you to do, my squint test here to see how I like the layout. And so another way I can do the squint test is by backing up. So I'm gonna come stand behind you and get a look, because from here, the painting is gonna look way different from back where you're at. Yeah, so see, now that I'm behind you, I'm thinking that the 3 flower circles that I put on the left are too straight of a line. And so I'm gonna move the top one a little more to the left. Okay, I think this is dry enough for the next step. And so I'm gonna start doing some leaves. Now, the leaves on this painting are just basically teardrops. So I'm gonna take green and yellow, and I'm gonna throw some leaves in. This is the first coat. I'm gonna do some more work to these later, but right now I'm just trying to get them down. This is the stage of the painting that I really like, because this is where I can tell people, do what you think looks nice. Make however many you want to make. The only rule here, and this is only a rule because I'm trying to make something similar to what we have as a sample, is they're all facing away from the center. I'm using my big brush. If you were doing this and you are uncomfortable with a big brush, you could use a smaller brush. I just always like to use the biggest brush possible for whatever job I'm doing because I'm lazy. I don't want to have more work for myself. And so I am always doing what I can as quickly as I can do it. There's a nice little breeze coming out. That makes me nervous though. Usually when the breeze comes, it's followed by rain. So maybe we'll have a bit more of a time crunch than I thought we would. So I'd rather not get rained on. I do have my umbrella here, but you don't have an umbrella. And like I said, I'm just gonna add I'm just gonna add leaves until I'm happy. I'm making sure that some of these go outside the frame because if I were to avoid the frame for everything, it would make the painting look flat. And there's nothing more devastating, personally, to me, than a boring painting. I think that's probably why I paint so fast, is when I'm painting fast, that allows me an opportunity to make happy little accidents. I know, white guy with an afro saying Bob Ross quotes while he's painting a picture. But the guy was onto something, you know? Like I don't mind that there's some slight inaccuracies here because that makes the painting more interesting. And so that's my main goal here, is to just make something interesting. I want people to want to look at my art. I want people to look at it and go, oh, that's interesting. That's cool. Oh, why did you do it like that? If people have questions, that means that they're thinking about my art instead of just looking at it. You know, the perfect thing for somebody to say when they look at my painting, ideally, would be, oh, wow, I want to buy that. How much does that cost? But I know we're not all in this for the money. Some of us, like me, are in it for the fame. Sorry, I haven't had anything to eat today, so I'm a little weird today. And so let's go now. I haven't cleaned my brush out. I just grabbed some more yellow, and I'm going to make these leaves a little more interesting. Maybe even a little bit of white. They don't all have to be the same, because they're not going to be the same in nature. I just add a little intrigue, make it a little more fun to look at. For those of you who are local or subscribe to me, live in the Southwest Florida, Lee County, Fort Myers, Cape Coral kind of area, I have some fun news coming up in a week and a half. So not Friday, but next Friday, I will be there is a little art walk down in downtown Fort Myers. And I have purchased a booth, so I will be down there on Friday the 5th from, I think, about 5 to 9 o'clock at night. If you're interested, I'll have a booth. You can come check me out, come say hi. Tell me how amazing I am. I'll be selling some of my prints. I'll be selling some of my original paintings. Just something to do if you're not already busy on a Friday night. I don't know where I'm at yet. I'm gonna post that on my Instagram, John Johnson _ art on Instagram. I'm gonna post that once I learn where I'm located, but I don't know yet because they're still waiting for people to pay for their spots. Okay, I think that is pretty good for now. I gotta let these dry. I have to do any more work to them. And I've gotta let it dry to do anything with the flowers. And so, once again, we're just gonna let it dry for a little bit. So I thought while we're waiting for this to dry, I could show you some of the paintings I'm bringing with me to my booth for the art walk this weekend, next weekend coming up. And so I'll show you some of these that I'm going to bring with me. These are all originals. I've also got prints of each of these if you don't want to spend original pricing. But here's the first one. I'm really happy with this. I made this in 2021, this lionfish here. I love lionfish. I think they're beautiful. I just wish they could be beautiful somewhere else. They're a very invasive species. They come into the local reefs and they eat all of the reef fish, and they can't be eaten by the other fish because they're toxic. And they got them little nasty pokers that'll mess you up good if you touch them. And so lionfish are a kill on sight in most cases. Next one I've got here is a manatee, about the exact opposite of a lionfish. Not invasive and very beautiful, and I love them and I want to see them all the time. This guy I made, so funny story behind this one. When I made this, I thought it would be cool to make a painting that I could turn into a greeting card. And so that's why there's all this empty space here. And so you can put a stamp or write in a generic greeting here on the side, and this can be the face of a greeting card. And I've done that. Maybe I'll find the greeting card that I made with it. But I have small 4x6 prints that you can then make into a greeting card. I've also got some that are unframed, just either due to the frame breaking or me not finding a frame that I like. I've got this osprey here, another native that I'm really a fan of. I think ospreys are so cool. We see them all the time here in Florida, and I've always wanted to make a painting of one. So this also in 2021, along with all these other ones, I'm pretty sure. And this guy was so cool. I've seen so many of these, and so finally getting to paint one made me very happy. This here's a permit. I love fishing. If you know me personally, you know I like to fish. Never caught a permit, but I think that they're beautiful. they're maybe not as beautiful as this. I went a little overboard with my colors here, but this is a style that I was interested in trying out, where it's more colorful and kind of random rainbowy colors in the body, super exaggerated, and I think that it turned out really nicely. And then the final one I brought out to show you is one of my favorite paintings I've ever made, this sick octopus. I've got prints of this guy as well, like all the other ones, 4x6 and 8x10. And this guy was so much fun to paint. So you got to keep track of the tentacles. I always had a problem when I was younger. I loved to draw octopi, but I never got the tentacles right. I would always put too many or too few. And this one was completely from my head, which you should never do. You should always have a reference when you're drawing or painting something from life. But I think this turned out really nicely for not using a reference. And this one I signed in white down here because I thought it would stand out nicely. And I think that that looks really cool. And so let's check on our paint here. It's pretty good. It's not all the way there yet, so we got to wait a little longer. I'm going to bring these back inside, and hopefully by then I'll be good to go. All right, stay hydrated. I think we're dry enough that I can start doing some of these flowers here. Now there's a couple different colors. Let me unlock my iPad back here. So I've got kind of orange, 2 orangey ones, 2 pink ones, and a yellow one. When I teach this class, I'm gonna explain to everybody, this doesn't have to be exactly the same as me. I wouldn't do any more flowers than I'm gonna do. 5 is probably enough. But if you don't want to do the colors exactly where I'm doing the colors, or exclude one entirely, totally fine. I'm still using my big brush because, like I said, I like to use the biggest brush possible because I am lazy. We're going to start with maybe this one on the top left. In the original, it's yellow, and so I'm going to make it yellow because I'm trying to make something that looks similar to what these people signed up for. And so for these, they appear to be hibiscus, but they don't have like the stamen. But I'm going to come out here, and it's almost like a very loose heart shape. And so yellow, as you can see, is a pretty translucent color. And so I'm gonna have to work at that to get it not see-through. One way I can do that is by adding white. I'm just gonna have to layer it up a couple times. But I knew that going into it, so I'm not surprised. I'm not concerned if all of these petals are the same exact size, obviously. There's usually 5, and so that's what I'm trying for here. Trying to get 5. I've got a lot of hibiscus here at my house, actually. I don't know how well you can see, but back here along my house wall, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hibiscus. I've got 3 over there. I've got 2 or 3 in the backyard, like behind the house, in the side yard here where the ducks live. I've got 4 more. We like hibiscus, and they're useful for us because we have a couple redfoot tortoises. We have one female, her name is Topaz, who is basically mature. She's not fully grown, but she's functionally mature, you know. She's compared to Chip, who is a tiny baby, smaller than a baseball. She's mature, and she loves to eat hibiscus. And so we give her those all the time. Whenever they do bloom, we basically immediately tear them off and feed them to the tortoise. So there's the first step for this flower. I'm gonna have to give myself some more white. As you can see, I was not very careful, and I got a lot of blue into my white, so I'm just gonna have to get some more. But that's totally fine. That's another thing. When I do these classes, I'm not giving people a ton of paint to start. Everybody always looks at me like, that's not enough. I know it's not enough. I'd rather refill your paint 3 times than not have to refill it at all, and you waste half of my paint every time I do a class. You know, like somebody's got to pay for this paint. I don't want to be wasting it. So we're going to let that go for a little bit. Let it kind of dry up and work on another one here. And so let's do one of these pink ones. Once again, you can put them wherever you want. But because I'm trying to make mine look like the original, I'm going to put my first pink one here. Hibiscus come in all kinds of colors. We've got, like I said, we've got a lot of them, and we've got yellow ones, we've got red ones, we have some that are called fiestas, which is they're yellow, and then as you get closer to the center, they turn orange and then red, and they're almost purple in the center, in the very center. And so there's no wrong color for one of these, for the most part. I don't think I've ever seen like a blue hibiscus, but if you've got red, yellow, orange, there's really no wrong color for these. Obviously pink. I think that's probably the most common one, or at least the one that I think about when I think about hibiscus, is a bright pink one on some dude's shirt. And you see, my colors are not pure. They're not consistent. Ugh, bug in my eye. Won't leave me alone. I'm not worried about that. I don't need consistent colors. And you could do this stage with a smaller brush. I just don't need to, and so I'm not going to waste my time using a smaller brush if I don't have to. Let's put another pink one in. I'm going to add a little water to this to let it flow a little nicer. Okay, we got another pink one here. So I taught a class 2 nights ago on Tuesday when I'm filming this. It was a Tuesday that the class happened. And when we do these classes, we get 3 hours to paint it. And the painting we were making was this little starfish, like sitting on the beach. And first of all, if you were at that class and you're watching this video, thank you. Thank you for watching this. And also, you guys were awesome. It was a really good class. They were all very good listeners. They all had wonderful paintings at the end. I was super excited for the final photo because everybody's painting was incredible. You know, sometimes at these classes, I guess not like all the time, but you do every once in a while, you get, you know, somebody is just there because they had to be there, they didn't really care, and so they're just messing around on the canvas. But really, everybody's painting at this class I was at came out incredible. And we did such a good job. What I'm telling you about that for is some of these classes, we always get 3 hours to do them. Some of them don't take 3 hours to do. I can see this one being one that does take a couple hours because there's a lot of dry time involved. But this starfish that we did the other day, it only took us like 2.5 hours. And that was so we were done in 2 hours. And I spent the last half hour telling everybody, okay, this is the most important stage. Now we refine. And so we spent 30 minutes after we finished just refining everything. I made everybody step back and do the squint test and check out their paintings. It was so awesome. They did such a good job. So if any of you who are watching right now are from that class, great job, guys. Seriously, one of the best class I've ever taught. So there's our 2 pink ones. You can see I've got 5 petals and they're pretty well covered. Now we've got 2 orange ones, and I don't have any orange on my palette, as you can see. However, if you went to art class when you were in school, you'll know that red and yellow makes orange. And so that's what we're gonna do. I don't wanna clutter up our palettes with 100 colors. So we're just gonna mix them ourselves. I'm not too concerned with getting a perfect color the first try, right? But I think that's gonna look pretty good. Now you see I overlapped a little bit, the other flower, that's totally fine. When things overlap, that makes them interesting. And what's the worst thing for a painting to be? Boring. We don't want boring paintings, and things overlapping makes paintings not boring. Oh man, the breeze went away. I'm dying. Okay. And so we're gonna add one more flower. It's another orange one down here in the bottom. And then we'll move on to some detail work. Ooh, it's getting toasty out here, guys. I like painting outside. It's good lighting, but it doesn't feel good, that's for sure. Okay, I'm gonna come back in and add a little more yellow to our yellow guy now that that white underneath has had some time to dry. So I gotta be really thick with my paint here if I want it to cover nicely. That's why I'm doing it in multiple layers, so that I can give it a chance to get thicker. And these guys are not all one color. Like I said, they've got some variation in the petals themselves. So if they're all a little different, if they were all a little streaky, that's fine by me. And so now it's time for some details. I'm gonna detail with my medium brush. I could probably do this with the big brush, but I think I'd have to be so careful that it's not really saving me any time. So cleaned off my big brush, grab my medium-sized brush here. I'm gonna start thinking about some details. Now, detail-wise, my red guy has, or my yellow guy has kind of reddish orange details. This is just to make the petals look a little more disconnected. This is just making it less one note, because one note is boring. And what do we not want our paintings to be? Correct, boring. So I'm gonna get some more of this. It's not exactly straight red. It's got a little yellow in it to make it kind of interesting. And I'm just dabbing. I'm taking the corner of my brush. So I load up. I've got my brush like this, and I'm taking the corner of it and going, turning my orientation a little bit, facing it outside. This is just gonna give me some randomness here. And I'm gonna come back in and darken some of that up a little bit too. But I gotta let it dry first. And so the rest of these flowers have yellow in the middle. So if I want this yellow to show up, I've gotta make it more opaque, which means I gotta add some white to it. And we're gonna do the same thing here. Make the middle more yellow. Now let's add some highlights. I think this guy's a little too light, so I'm just gonna give me a nice reddish orange. Add some variation here. That's really the name of the game, is making it have some variation. So I don't want it to be all the same, because when it's all the same, it's boring. I don't want a boring painting. I know I've said that 100 times already, but it's important. Now for the pink guys, I'm gonna go yellow in the center, but then the outline is gonna be lighter pink. I'm not concerned with being super precise, as always. These guys are a little too light compared to the original. So what I'm gonna actually do is I'm going to put a dark outline instead of a light outline. Instead of going in and darkening the whole flower so that the light outline looks nice, I'm just going to call an audible, which is a very important skill to have as an artist, is to be able to adapt. You just see how what we're doing here is just making our painting more interesting. And so now I'm going to come in with red and put some darker spots in the middle of these guys. I'm trying to keep it fairly random. I don't want them perfectly evenly spaced out, so that doesn't look natural. So this is my favorite stage of making a painting. This is the refining stage, where it's 90+% done. Now I'm adding that final 10% that takes it from a mediocre painting to a painting that somebody could really be proud of. Okay, so I'm going to step back behind you so I can get a better look at the whole thing, do my squint tests. I think my orange flowers are a little too transparent still. So I'm going to go back in, make a new orange, and try to get these a little closer to where I want them. Yeah, you know what I think will help is if I just give myself some orange. Like I said earlier, I was trying to avoid it, but I think just a tiny little bit of orange is really going to make a difference. So I barely added any orange onto my palette. Just think, I'm not going to be able to mix something this vibrant with just red and yellow. Yep. That'll do her. That takes these flowers from a reddish yellow to an orange. I know that sounds real dumb, but I think if you've been paying attention, you'll be able to tell what I mean. So we're going to add a little bit more detail to the flowers, not the flowers, the leaves, and then we'll be done. And so the leaves are kind of one note now compared to the flowers. And so what I'm going to do is get me some yellow and some white, and I'm going to some simple outlines. Nothing crazy. Yeah, I think that's just giving it a little more interest, making it less boring. In the original, they put a little pink around some of them too. I'm going to do that as well, just because I think it would be cool. And I'm going to make a little darker green here. So I'm going to add some blue to my pre-existing green and just darken up some of this backside. It's going to make, especially these ones right behind the flowers, it's going to make the flowers pop. That's another little brain hack we're doing to ourselves. A good painter is good at tricking you, good at tricking your eyes into seeing something that's not actually there. It's like if you were to really scrutinize this, these don't look like flowers. It's just a bunch of paint strokes. But I'm combining them together in a way that makes you think about flowers, and your brain's helping a lot with the way this looks. We're working together on this, whether you know it or not. We're a team. I'm trying to trick your brain into seeing what I want it to see. Okay. I'd say that that's done. And so I'm going to clean off my brush, dry it off, and now for the fun part, it's time to sign. I always sign down here. You can sign wherever you'd like. A lot of people put their initials in paint, but I hate putting my initials in paint because my name is John Johnson. And J is not a fun letter to do in paint. And so, Sharpie, maybe I'll bring you closer so you can see me sign it better. All right, just gonna go ahead and sign my name right here. And it's 2025. That'll do her. If you enjoyed this video, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did like it, please do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment, share with your friends, you know, all the YouTube stuff. It really helps boost my platform, helps me to share these videos out with you. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers so that I can live stream from my phone. I can bring you out and do something like this live, so I can answer questions and talk with you. That's my main goal right now. I think I'm at 31, 32 subscribers. So if we can get to 50, that would be huge. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one.